10 random magic cards rated day number 70. Happy Monday, everybody. Hope that your week goes well. This first card will determine our entire week, so let's make seriously, let's spin the wheel, see what happens. It's Tidings. Okay, I'll take Tidings. I really will, actually. This is 5 mana, originally printed in Starter, if you can believe it. 5 mana, 3 and 2 blue for a sorcery, draw 4. I've seen this card cast. I've actually seen this card cast like a lot. Way back in the day, not just because of Starter, but as you can see, this is printed in 9th edition, 10th edition, right? Even a Commander product. This is not bad, actually. For some reason, I've always liked the art. Kind of a sucker for Pete Venters sometimes, right? But yeah, I'll actually kind of give some love to Tidings here. I will give some Tidings to Tidings. This is like a 4.9. Like, it really is. I kind of want to give this an honorary 5 or something like that. Just because, again, I've seen this like blow people out. Like after the sweeper, board state's controlled, countered your last spell, like your big thing or whatever. Now, I'm kind of running low on cards, aren't I? Well, I'm going to Tidings and draw 4. Whoops, I restock on cards, and now what are you going to do? You only have 1 card left. So I think this is actually like still okay. I'll give it a 4.9. It's for kind of old time's sake. It probably really deserves like a 4.1. But in case you need like a primer here, 4 cards is a lot of cards. It's more than half a handful of cards. Pretty okay. But we'll move on to Seraph of the Masses here. This is 7 mana. Jeez, man. Calm down. 5 and 2 white for a star angel with Convoke. You can fly. This card flies. And also its power and toughness are equal to the number of creatures you control for 7 mana, man. But I guess if you have a lot of creatures, you can convoke it out. Look at that. I guess Regal Bunnycorn is just this card, but already convoked and cares about non-land permanents. And Beauregard Mentor. Mentor? Like a Minotaur? No, it's a bunny. Beauregard Mentor is this card, but already convoked. I guess this has flying. But still, I'm not like that impressed. And I tend to really like creatures like this. From Keldon Warlord and like onward, Meraxis of Keld and stuff like this. I love creatures like this typically, but for some reason I'm just not impressed. I'm turning my nose up at this angel, but I could see how it could potentially be good. Like even though you convoke it out and tap down like 5 dudes or whatever, like at that point it's at least a 5/5 flyer, so it's not like you're completely, done because of crackbacks. So I don't know. She's kind of neat. I have to give her like a 4.7, and I think she might deserve more than that. Maybe I'm just being like too discriminating today, which is weird because I just recorded yesterday's video as I'm recording this, and I felt like I was pretty generous in that one, but just something about this I feel like is a kind of a trap a little bit, It's like, oh, tap down all my guys, cast this one guy. Oh, cool, Doomblade, Whoops. All right, so we'll move on to Tempered Steel. Good old Tempered Steel. 3 mana, 2 and a white for an enchantment. Artifact creatures you control get +2/+2. Originally printed in Scars of Mirrodin, and it's still worth a little bit unless you want the retro-framed one from Brothers War Commander, which I own a copy of. And I think retro frame looks really, really good on this card, so spend 50 cents on it. It looks great. But it's also amazing in your artifact deck, or at least your deck that's attacking with artifact dudes. Pretty narrow in that application, but really, really good anthem effects a lot of the time. And you don't even have to be strictly in an artifact creature deck. Maybe you have Blinkmoth Nexus and Mirex and other things like it, Mishra's Factories, whatever. So Urza's Factory. There's a lot of artifact creature like lands, or like lands that make artifact creatures. So there are a few cute ways to kind of apply this card, but ultimately I'm going to give this a 5.6. I think that it's really one of the better anthem effects printed, kind of ever, but at the same time, it's obviously super nair. But Floodgate, I love Floodgate, dude. Okay, so this is like a blue sweeper, kind of, This is 4 mana, 3 and a white for a 0/5 wall with Defender. If it flies, if it ever gains flying, sacrifice it. Neat. If it leaves play, it deals to each non-blue creature without flying 1 damage for every 2 islands that you control. That's how the card was originally printed. What's the Oracle text? When Floodgate leaves the battlefield, it deals damage to each non-blue creature without flying, equal to half the number of islands you control, rounded down. Without flying for each 2 islands you control. Okay, so this is slightly better, I guess, the way it's Oracle texted here, unless it's like literally the exact same. It kind of is. The math works out to where it's basically the same thing. Either way, if you control 6 islands, 3 damage to every non-blue, non-flyer. That's okay, kind of, you know. Printed in Mirage and the List and Dominaria Remastered, but that is it, my friends. Not a whole lot of printings of this. I think this is a really unique card. I love Mirage too, for what that's worth. It doesn't get it too many more, you know, extra points or whatever. But Mirage is kind of one of my favorite sets of all time. And Floodgate is just a card that you don't kind of see the likes of every day, right? So I think it's neat. I also think it's neat that you can bounce it and deal the damage to everything and then play it again, right? So really kind of cool. You can actually do that multiple times in one turn if you have the mana to do it and deal extra damage to everything. So very cute. Leaves all of your dudes that are blue in play. Leaves all your flyers in play. So I don't know. The card is definitely abusable if you have enough islands. And in Commander, I could see a world where you have like 8, 10 islands in play if you're doing it correctly. So yeah, actually a solid little card, like a repeatable blue sweeper. Come on. So I'm going to actually give Floodgate the honorary 5 of the video. This is worth an honorary 5 all day. Just a neat card to include in your blue decks. Not a whole lot of cards like it. Yarick's Wave Crasher is up next, only ever printed in Core Set 2020. 4 mana, 3 and a blue for a 4/4 elemental. When it ETBs, return another creature you control to its owner's hand. So 4 mana, 4/4. With downside, I guess it's technically upside pretty easily, but still kind of drafty thing here. 3.4. Something like that. Barrington Crag Treads, another Monty Python name, but there's a lot of those in a Lorwyn block. This is originally printed in Shadowmoor and Never Again. 4 mana, 2 and 2 Azorius hybrids for a 3/3 Kitkin Scout that can't be blocked by red creatures. Pretty bad. 2.3. You're up against red? 2.8. Let's move on, though, to Damoka Duncaster, a single white for a 0/2 human wizard. You can pay 1 and a white and tap it to tap a creature without flying. So only ever printed in Dragons of Tarkir, but that's because they print these little tapper dorks in like every other set, sometimes every set. I feel like that's one of the slots they have to fill for limited in, again, every set. This is not terrible. A little mana sink only costs you 1 mana to get on the table in the first place, and I kind of like playable limited 1-drops because there's not necessarily tons of them at the common rarity, especially, you know. So kind of okay there, but only ever there. 2.5, I think, for something like this. 2.6. Packsong Pup is up next, printed in Crimson Vow. This is 2 mana, 1 and a green for a 1/1 wolf. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control another wolf or werewolf, put a +1/+1 counter on Pup. When Pup dies, you gain life equal to its power. Really, really sad ending there, but still, I like this card. Sometimes you would see it pop up in wolf decks in Standard while Crimson Vow was around, so not that long ago, you know, but kind of long ago. I feel like the last time I came up against a Tovolar or similar, you know, wolf or werewolf deck in the arena before rotation was months and months and months ago. Maybe even a couple of years back. People kind of dropped wolves after a while because day-night was lame. But this guy doesn't work on day-night at all, so yay for that. Just pretty good with a bunch of other wolves. Right. And if it's in your wolves deck in Commander, I guess like that's okay. You know, if you're playing wolves, it's definitely a 2-drop you want to play. It could potentially get very, very large. It could. So cool card. But I can't really give it more than like a 4.9. Because again, the narrowness here, it's like one specific kindred type. But in that deck, it's pretty good, obviously. But next is Gideon Jura. Nice. All right. So originally printed in Rise of the Eldrazi. This is 5 mana, 3 and 2 white for a 6 loyalty planeswalker. It's not bad already. I mean, 6 loyalty is a lot. But anyway, you can +2 Gideon. He goes to 8 when you do that. You can +2 Gideon. During target opponent's next turn, creatures that player controls attack Gideon Jura if able. Okay. So, wow. Usually you want to... I forgot about this guy. I forgot everything he does, which is not a good sign for him. But usually you want your planeswalker to protect themselves the turn they come down. I guess he does that with a really high loyalty. But this is the opposite of protecting yourself. -2, destroy target tapped creature. And for 0, the Gideon ability becomes a 6/6 human soldier that's still a planeswalker till end of turn. Prevent all damage that will be dealt to him this turn. So a version of indestructibility in a way. Okay. But they can still just go for the throat him or something. It's kind of lame. But yeah, okay. So he's kind of a 5 mana 6/6 with a built-in protection ability when he swings and stuff. That's kind of cool. Also has a destroy a creature ability, like a removal ability he can use 3 times theoretically, which is crazy. Like at least 3 times. And the +2 is kind of booty a little bit, but maybe at the commander table you just pick somebody that doesn't have a lot of creatures or any good creatures, or you have a better board state than them, or whatever it is. So altogether, actually, kind of a pretty good Planeswalker package here. If this was reprinted into Standard, I think it might actually see a little bit of play. I like the card. I will give it. Here's the clinch here. I wasn't actually playing much in the Eldrazi set, the original Eldrazi sets, which is probably why I haven't really familiarized myself too much with this card. I'll give this a 5.4. Solid Planeswalker. Yeah, solid Planeswalker. Fell Beast Shriek is up next. This is from Tales of Middle-earth Commander. I have never seen this card. This is a blue and a red for a sorcery. Each opponent chooses a creature they control. Tap and goad the chosen creatures. That means until your next turn, those creatures attack each combat, if able, and attack a player other than you, if they're able to. You can also splice onto instant or sorcery for 4 mana, 2, a blue and a red. As you cast an instant or sorcery spell, you may reveal this card from your hand and pay its splice cost. If you do, add this card's effects to that spell. So, okay. I guess there are reasons to splice this. Puzzled for a minute doing math in the background meme. Okay, I guess. It's not necessarily a sweeper or anything, but keeps everybody off your back for at least a turn, and maybe goad also provokes your opponent's creatures into doing stuff they wouldn't want to do, So obviously goad is like kind of a solid ability, underrated commander ability that every time I see it, I have to read it. Like nobody in my pod has ever played a card with goad ever. I've never seen one cast in my life. I know that sounds crazy to some pods, but everyone just kind of stays away from new stuff. I know it sounds like really boomery, but sort of like, I don't want to say complicated new abilities. Goad is obviously not complicated. It's actually a pretty elegant in its simplicity mechanic, but I guess none of us really like goad, but it is a good, mechanic. So I like this card. I will audience review this one, right? I'll ask the audience and use my lifeline here. What do you give Fell Beast Shriek? As not really a fog effect, but like something like it that can really wreak chaos and havoc on the board for just a couple of mana. And like, what do you splice it onto? Listen, I'm asking you that question. What do you splice it onto? Have you spliced it onto something? Tell me your stories down there. But in any case, I think I'm going to give this card a 5.2 for potential's sake. But I recognize it could be anywhere between like a 4.3 and a 6.2 or something like that. But just to be safe, I'll go somewhere in the middle there because card definitely looks like it has potential, right? But that is all of the cards for Monday, everybody. Pretty good crop today. There's some stinkers in the middle, but we got some neat stuff too. So hope the rest of your day is good. Hope the week is going well for you so far. I'll see you guys Tuesday morning. Bye.